Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. Tom, it's good to see you. Welcome back. Mr. Destro, you coordinated for Tibetan issues when you were working in the last administration. I think Tibet suffers, as we know, from deteriorating human rights, poor economic development conditions, restrictions against religious freedoms, and repression of Tibetan culture as the Communist Party of China seeks to consume and subsume Tibet. With that in mind, did the Biden State Department encourage atheism in Tibet? Is that my understanding? I just want to, do you know about, what's the story there?
It was in Nepal.
It was in Nepal?
Nepal. And I can tell you...
Okay, go ahead, tell me.
No, please finish your question.
Well, what's the interest of the United States of America in supporting atheism in Nepal? Like how does that help us? What are we trying to achieve?
Well, there's two answers to that question. One, we don't have any. And there's no evidence that atheists are a persecuted class in Nepal. But even more so, you know, one of the big issues I had to deal with is talking Nepal into not sending people back to China. Right? I had to intervene with the foreign minister and ask him, please don't send people back who escape. And you could expect, once this came out, where the conversation would be, so why are you trying to destroy our culture? You know, so you're asking other countries to do things in the field of human rights, very valuable things in human rights. And then you're kind of hitting them in places they don't expect to get hit. And it's a false dichotomy that Mr. Malinowski is pointing out. It's not just about governments. It's about how the people see our government spending and who they're spending it on. The people in Nigeria I have been speaking to for years now, and they say, who are these people who get the money? What do they do with it? And I have suggested that their independent journalists go out and start knocking on some of the doors to find out where that money comes from.
Yeah, I'm actually outraged that we're spending money, whether it's in Tibet or Nepal, on atheism abroad. I just feel like we could better spend our money, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Mr. Richardson, it's come to my attention that grant awardees were being able to write their own monitoring and evaluation requirements. So they get the grant money, that's my understanding, so I want you to confirm this, maybe I'm wrong. And then they write their own monitoring and evaluation, so they're watching themselves and how they spend it. Is that, am I mischaracterizing it?
That's essentially right. When a grantee puts forward its proposal, it'll have a monitoring and evaluation section. In that, often what you find is that the monitoring and evaluation standards seem, I would argue, pretty weak. And so, but it is almost a self-reporting. The latest guidance that I saw from the State Department focuses on essentially a qualitative, personal experience of whether that funding helped them or not. And rather than looking at actual data or doing a true analysis and true monitoring and evaluation, which is what you would actually want to do. Because what you really want to do is see, does that money actually have the impact you're trying to accomplish, rather than does this just make people feel good? And that seems to be the direction that the State Department seems to be taking in this new monitoring and evaluation standards that they put forward.
So it seems to me that we should be, you know, when the people in the district I represent wake up early in the morning and head off to work to pay their taxes, can't afford their groceries, their electricity bill, you know, their daycare bill, funding things, climate pet projects, or, you know, DEI initiatives, other fabricated issues, as I would call them, as opposed to major infrastructure projects, oil and gas leasing or drilling, mining, real economic development projects that could be assessed at tangible results. And then and then evaluating whether these funds have an impact is essentially optional is astounding to me, in the sense that last year, 2023, foreign assistance, government, state, and USAID combined spent $56 billion. For $56 billion, while China's out doing hard things, they're not doing DEI initiatives. I guarantee you, they are not. And climate issues, they're not doing any of that stuff. We're spending our taxpayers' money on this stuff, and then we're not even requiring a third-party evaluation on effectiveness. It's astounding. It's outrageous. For those who say 11% is too much, let me tell you what will tighten up the organization, not having as much to spread around because they're spreading it around willy-nilly like they don't care because they don't care. Well, my people, the people that I represent that are working hard for their money, they do care and they don't want it wasted. I yield the balance.